All right, it is 6:38 on Monday, April 22nd. We will call the school committee meeting to order. Due to a variety of reasons, we don't have a quorum yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to get into the topics that do not require any decisions or any votes. We have some information-only items just to provide clarity and for everyone's information. We lost one of our members, if it wasn't mentioned before, for the remaining of the year as she presented her resignation. We have a family personal conflict with another of our members, so we're looking at a 3-member quorum for this evening, which we now have.
Yay.
There you go.
Here I am.
All right, so now we have a quorum as of 6:39. That's awesome. Okay, so how about we do this? We just change the order of the items in new business a little bit and move children first up so we can let you go and enjoy the rain out there.
It is coming down.
Yeah. Then we'll just reorder some other items and then go with that. Then I'll turn it to you.
Donna Bennett, Children First, and I thank the school committee for giving me some time to update you. We're in the end of our second year of kindergarten. As you might recall, year 1 we had 7 participants. They're now in first grade. We're in year 2 and we have 10 participants. We're looking forward at what we hope is just a blip in year 3. We currently only have 4 committed participants, 1 from Amherst, 1 from South Hadley, and 2 from Granby. I had wanted the minimum number to go forward to be 6. We're looking at year 4, not this next year, but the year after. We've got quite a few siblings coming in, and we know that we'll have a really strong kindergarten group in year 4. So it's really getting us from year 2 to year 4 right now. That's our concern. We had said that we would only, part of the eligibility would only be children who had attended our program. At this point, if we stick strictly to that, we will not be able to offer kindergarten in year 3. We've been approached by a couple families from South Hadley, 1 from Granby, who were interested in whether we would be willing to open up kindergarten to them. We let them know that that was at this point not part of the eligibility, but that we would come back to you and talk about the potential to open up eligibility in a very limited form, only when it meant the life of the program. And so I have the full set of information in the letter to you, but that's the gist of it, is that we're hoping that we can open this up to 1 or 2 more so that we can reach 5 or 6 participants. I feel like in terms of group dynamics and formation, smaller than that just is not the best. Do you have any questions?
I'm sure we do.
I just want to give you the basics.
I don't have any.
Mike?
This would be just when you will fall short for level 5, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so that we can absolutely operate.
So my questions, Donna, are, just to confirm, you currently have 2 Granby students, you said, and 1 more potentially within that 3 that you're talking about.
Correct.
So a total of 3
Could
potential.
be potentially 3 Granby kids.
Okay.
2 committed Granby and Amherst and South Hadley right now. And of the 3 who have expressed interest, 1 of the 3 is a Granby family.
Okay. All right.
And the other piece to this is that when children really develop strong relationships in our community very, very young, they often want to continue that relationship even if they don't live in town. So historically, we've been able to really provide Granby with people moving into town because of the strength of their connection,
Yeah.
and also using school choice. And so that's another thing that we really like to promote, is that because they have out-of-school time care that lasts technically all the way up until they're 14, it is a great opportunity for people who want school choice, who have developed a Granby relationship through Children First, to continue in the school system.
Yep, agreed.
No, we don't know yeah, because it's so young that, what it's, so how many of those that go through your program choice into these schools from the other towns? Do we? I mean,
Right, of the first 7, two out of the 7 choiced in. And of this next group, I know at least one has their name on the list to choice in. So that's what I kind of know off the top of my head.
But
And
that's
do-
not unique to just this kindergarten, like that's been sort of part of the program for a long.
20 years.
Yeah.
For 20 years, we've, because typically if somebody is school choice and parents are working, they need that care, that out-of-school time care. And so we have tended to be a kind of a critical piece of the support system for school choice.
And Granby students tend to stay in Granby, right? Traditionally.
So far.
Yeah.
It's, as you said, it's still such a young program, which is one of the reasons we really don't want to lose the momentum, knowing that we have a strong 4th year, next, after this 3rd one.
Yep.
To really get a good data supply to see what we do have going on.
I just thought your thought was to build a group that would kind of stay together as much as they could, right? I was just wondering
That's the hope.
if that moved forward through the school systems.
Right.
But it's still a little early to really look at that, right?
And in year 1, we had 1 of the 7 go to their home community in South Hadley. 1 of the 7 went to their home community in Belchertown, and then the other 5 stayed in Granby, either because they were part of the Granby community or they choiced it.
Great.
That'd be an interesting thing to track over time.
We'll do that. Any other questions for Donna? All right, and we are sure that we don't need any vote or anything, we're all good?
Correct.
Okay, so thank you for coming,
Thank
for
you.
the information, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Stay dry, and we'll see you
I
sometime
don't know
soon.
that I can promise you that,
Yeah.
but I will do my best, and we will see each other with more numbers and information next time I'm here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Donna.
much.
Yeah,
Nice to
thank
meet
you.
Adam.
All right, so we have a time constraint.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry, that's good. Thanks for letting me know. So now, what we're gonna do,
I'll let you know as soon as I found out about how things roll in my world right now.
so what we're gonna do, we're gonna move our budget conversation up because we have a vote on the budget that we had postponed. We were considering a Skype participation for tonight, but we decided not to do that, so,
Oh, with Deanne.
yeah.
I really.
How did she decide that, or did we decide? I'm just kidding. She got over there and said, I'm not.
Yeah, all right, so, Adam, all yours.
Yes, it's okay, so there's just a few slides to look at prior to us voting that will, I'm assuming, gonna spark some maybe questions or some dialogue. So this first one, we've seen it before, so this is all of the new requests for the FY20 budget, or some of them which have been partially implemented in FY19, and we're looking to carry them over into FY20. And the biggest drivers of this is the one-to-one implementation per the Jeff Sun Technology Report, the addition of a curriculum coordinator / technology integration specialist. That really is the biggest chunk of additions for FY20. Again, we've seen this, we've talked about this, but Cheryl and I thought it was a good idea to kind of put this back, and if there are any last minute questions regarding this slide or this information, we can talk about it. There's nothing new has been added to this that we haven't already discussed.
The curriculum coordinator, tech integration specialist
Yep.
it's not 2 positions, right? You're just.
No, it's one position that they'll kind of do both, you know, as
Okay.
we,
Alright. Is it, just to make sure, that is basically what we have as, I don't want to call it a placeholder, but that is higher than what we had discussed, but we just want to make sure that we're covering a range, and that's why we wanted to
Yes.
make sure that it's there.
So,
Okay.
along that line, so that is not what we would necessarily pay them, but it encompasses, is that what you just said?
Yes, that's,
Range
yeah, that's what I'm
of
trying to
salary.
confirm too.
That's
Yeah.
the max end of the range.
So it could be lower or.
Yeah, and I think we're not really looking to go to the ceiling. Right?
Again, it depends on the candidate pool, who applies, the kinds of experience, the kind of person, maybe that might be coming right out of a classroom or has from a larger district, has a part-time coach experience, has written curriculum in other districts, so. But a seated, someone who is currently a curriculum director, that's about the range.
Okay.
So again, it depends on the
Okay.
pool that we get.
All right, so I will just leave it then with the intent of not going that high, because it is substantially higher than what we had discussed earlier. Well, maybe I shouldn't say substantially, but it is somewhat higher than what we had discussed earlier. So, understanding that that's the range, and potentially based on qualifications, it may,
I just want to make sure that we're not talking about the data manager position?
no. we're
Okay,
not.
all right, that's fine.
And that is embedded already in the budget that.
Yes,
you-
all this is already, yes,
No,
embedded.
the data manager.
Yes,
Initiative,
yes,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So how did that work? This year, there was a data manager role?
So you approved the
So we
data
carried it
manager
over.
mid-year, so that's, when we created FY '20, that was in
Okay.
already. It wasn't considered an addition.
As far as approval, it wasn't, but as a
Right.
position, it will be a brand new position.
Yes.
But we didn't have to ask for it separately because it was
Right.
already rolled
Right.
up into the total.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
the curriculum coordinator / tech integrator, it's one position, but that's, the title is like sort of however the person comes in, kind of what it is, or is it true?
No,
like
we're
dual
definitely
role?
looking for
Both pieces?
a tech integration specialist and a curriculum coordinator position. One person who has both of those skill sets.
Okay,
Which in digital, most curriculum coordinators are leaning toward digital literacy and
Okay.
have that background.
Okay.
But this is specifically with the idea of integrating one-to-one technology, not only in the classroom, but embedding it in the curriculum, because the curriculum all needs to be updated.
Okay. Right?
Good with that side?
Good with that?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is a.
Actually, I have one.
Yeah.
As far as the math testing and stuff, does that
Yes.
go under the curriculum?
Yes, it would.
person?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So we are basically putting some of those pieces under one
Yes.
central.
So a lot of the
Is it-
questions you ask about, and that the leadership team asks about assessment, it would be the curriculum coordinator, technology integration specialist with the data manager creating the assessment report system so that on a regular basis, we're not trying to generate reports. We're actually just given the reports to look over student data, student achievement data, could be social emotional learning data, and it just makes us as administrators much more efficient in decision making.
Thank you.
Okay, so this next slide is obviously, as you can see by the title, 5-year comparison broken down by DESI function, so how we actually report things in the end of year report. So it's the projected amount for FY20 all the way back to, I actually have it till FY15, but it wouldn't fit nicely on this slide, so I went back to 16. So it's 5 years of data, and it kind of gives us some picture of where some savings are that we recognized, and then reallocated elsewhere, but it's really just a glimpse of, per DESI's function codes, how we budgeted this year compared to how we've spent or budgeted in previous years.
Can you explain to us what does it mean that we don't have anything for tuition line items, and then the administration went up by to $100,000+.
Yep.
So I'm assuming there is a shift somewhere.
Yep, so the administration, one big factor would be the addition of that curriculum coordinator, the instructional technology salary, there's $85,000. There's 2% raises that are built in there, which would be part of that administration. There's the data coordinator that would be grouped in that admin, so it was those two positions, that's $130,000 or so. There's another big one that's in there.
The new parent and all that.
No.
Not the new paras, administration, is that where the district lines for, communication, contracted
Yes, yep.
services?
Yep, so some central office, we put $20,000 in for that community outreach involvement. That would be in that admin line. So that's where the shift is compared to previous years for
Well,
this year.
That's an increase. I was thinking that maybe there was a shift as well because some of the line items are
Okay,
down to
so-
zero now.
So this is local money at the end of the day. So you'll see in FY20 there's nothing for tuition to either mass or non-publics or collaboratives. We shifted all of that onto circuit breaker for this year to make room for the technology requests. So in years past we've paid, you can see, out of the general fund, we've paid the tuition to mass schools, non-public schools, and the collaboratives out of the general fund. We shifted all those costs this year off to the circuit breaker, to revolving funds.
So all those three lines were related to special education?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yep. That's all special education related costs.
So would you agree that that's probably what we should be doing anyway? I mean, isn't that,
Yes.
I mean, I may be off.
Yes.
I'm just trying to,
So, yes, in a good year, there should be a good balance. There should be some on the general fund, but most of that cost should be going to circuit breaker. So what we're doing this year is kind of making up for what wasn't done in years past and kind of putting that burden on circuit breaker more than we originally planned and more than it had been in the past.
so I'm taking it back a little bit, understanding what you said. Given that the circuit breaker amount could help us build some buffer for fluctuations, then
Mhm.
now we are going into that bucket somehow. How long will we be able to sustain this?
Just ask that question.
Yeah, so we actually talked about that today. So we should be able to sustain that for the next 2 or 3 years. And remember, that one-to-one technology implementation, which is about $150,000, $160,000, is a one-time cost for this year. We won't have that next year. We shouldn't have it the year after that. But then we'll get into year 3 and 4, some replenishment cycle.
But not at that $150,000.
But not at that, yes, so not at that level. So we have to just be cognizant that this year, we did a lot this year with the implementation of technology and trying to shift the way that we use local funds and other revolving accounts. So yes, it's a big burden this year, but it's kind of making up for years past where it should have shifted some cost off. But that's a good question, we talked about it, no. So we just gotta remember that the technology implementation for this year, implementation is a 1-year thing for now. We won't have that $200,000 or so burden the next few years, which will give us some room to replenish those revolving accounts like circuit breaker, and then we'll just have to build in how we're gonna replenish all the one-to-one devices.
And where does school choice go in this?
So again, this is DESI, this is broken down by DESI function as
So
our
there's no-
An
local
expense.
funds, yeah, so
Okay.
those aren't incorporated into this.
Okay.
There's really, I mean, this is more of just a visual, just to kind of compare year over year and kind of see where we're at this year versus how we've done things in the past. And it's going to look, again, like you said, no tuition to these schools or collaboratives. So it's going to look kind of odd, but it's giving us some flexibility to do things that we haven't done.
Yeah, a few lines were interesting as well, that, the student services, the health went down. In fact, it's as low as almost as low as the FY16 numbers. What does that mean? Did we,
So we have a nurse retiring this year
oh, that's what.
that we are not going to fill.
How about athletics? Well, what is that line? It can't be full athletics. Student body activities?
Yeah, so that's either stipends or coaches pay, some of that. So some of that comes from the local, some of that comes from revolving accounts. It'd be supplies and materials we might need for field maintenance, stuff like that.
It's good that, the transportation line went down by $170,000 in 5 years or less.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. In fact, less than 5 years since in FY16 we had that
Yeah.
amount.
Yep.
All right,
Any questions on that?
Thank you, Jen.
I guess I'm just curious, for operations and maintenance, why it went up by
$62,000 when we've got, is it that all to account for stuff going on at the potential stuff at the high
So
school?
that goes back to us inheriting the shared
Forgot about
facilities
that.
portion.
I
Yeah.
forgot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So,
Dumb question.
That's the main driver for the
That goes
cost.
into which line item?
That goes into this operations and maintenance
Okay.
bucket right there, the fourth one from the top. Yep, so again, just actually, that's a good question, Jen, so just remind everyone that we had to inherit half of two people now that we're not going with shared services, so that was another increase here that we weren't expecting, that's why that operations and maintenance line went up this year in comparison to other years.
Okay.
Will that, do you think, maintain itself now? Like stay close to the
This number?
operation? Yeah, because. Ooh.
So again, we haven't been a full year
Yeah,
of
okay.
usage in this building, and we never had air conditioning, which we do now, right? So I think it's gonna take a couple of years for us to see what the savings really will be. Also, we had a lot of problems, I don't call them problems, there was a lot of issues this year with some boilers not working right, us using additional propane than we thought we should be using. So it might take us a couple of school years to really see if it's really gonna lead to an efficiency. I would assume it would, but we just won't have that information.
And that also hoping nothing happens next door.
Nothing happens next door. With the new roof, that will hopefully create some efficiencies, so
Okay.
it's gonna be a couple of years before we can see, we can use data to compare if we're saving money. So this, we've seen before, I don't know if we've seen it maybe since the very first presentation. All this does is break down by department or by school, what their projected budget is for this year based on personnel. Well, TPS is other than personal services, so anything other than salaries. The LEA total would be the total amount that it would take, that $10,313,501 to run the district, the total amount to run the district. And then in the fourth column, we apply offsets, and that's how we get to our $8.5 million ask from the town.
What is district?
District would be central office, essentially, so all admin, well, not all admin salaries, so myself, Cheryl, Carol's in there, all the secretaries, all the expenses that go in with that. District, I want to say I put the one-to-one implementation, oh no, that's in technology. So yeah, district would be anything central office related.
And East Meadow and junior, senior high school would be where all curriculum related activities? would be?
Correct, yep. All teachers, principal, assistant principal, yep, anything instructional curriculum. And then this we've seen before, so this actually has been updated because as of the House Ways and Means recommendation, they recommended instead of $20 additional per pupil, it's $30 additional per pupil. That netted out to about $7,000 more in Chapter 70, so that is reflected in this number.
So that's good, right?
But all said and done, this $8.5 million is what our ask to the town would be for FY '20.
Do you know where they added that 7,000?
Yeah, it was just, so there's a, you get
So
your,
is it the
I put it into,
local or is it chapter 70?
it's in chapter 70.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's in chapter 70. Yep. Yep, it's just, they always give an additional amount per pupil. It's usually $20. The House Ways and Means recommended a $30. So there was the $7,000 increase. We might see some more increase. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
But as of now, that is with the most up-to-date numbers that we have.
And when you say that, we're talking about the Senate version, not necessarily anything coming up with things that you've been.
Correct.
Yeah, nothing, no, totally, that's totally aside. So the total number that we'd be asking for from the town would be $8,500,058,890. So that's what we'd like to vote on.
So this is the second lowest budget out of those 5 years that we've seen, correct? And this is really without any reductions. The difference between FY18 and this one would be, even though they're almost the same amount, this is without reductions. In fact,
That
shifts and replenishment and change in direction as far as curriculum, yet without reductions. So it's, I think it's good news.
Again, it puts a little more burden than we wanted to, I think, on our revolving accounts, but again, we made up for some of what should have been done in years past. So I think it's, we wouldn't have been in that position if it was like this in years past. So we're kind of making up for that this year. But yeah, this is a pretty, I mean, we look at it every day. It's a pretty strong budget. I don't think we're missing anything. At this point, it's probably too late if we are missing anything. So yeah, we've all of us have done a lot of hard work on it. And I think it came out pretty well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by when you said if we had been doing this right along, would we be in different shape overall? Or I'm still trying to figure this whole budget thing out, so I don't understand.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We have some high balances in our revolving accounts that should have been used in the past, maybe to offset some of the local, and maybe there wouldn't have been the opportunity to go to town floor and ask for more money.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's what you were saying. Or not.
Yeah, we're doing that this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing that this year.
So I have a question. Last week, you mentioned we didn't get one of the grants. I don't see something missing though.
So,
What was the question?
at the DPH grant, the Department of Health grant, which is about a $75,000 grant, we've had for 5 years. We knew there was a significant change in the application, and there was a risk involved with Granby receiving that grant. Granby, Hadley, also, we did not receive the grant. So we haven't given up. We have a call on Thursday to find out some of the particulars. There's always the potential that they may release more money in a second round, but when we built FY20, we knew that there was a risk. So the position that we thought to create in the grant was a shared social worker, half-time at East Meadow and half-time at Granby Junior Senior High School. Because we don't have the grant, we will not be filling that position.
That had nothing to do with that new. Yeah.
No.
Okay, that's what I was concerned that we were going to be missing.
No,
when I
the
heard that.
social
Okay.
emotional learning classroom position is in the budget, and we will hire.
Okay. Sorry, that was just what I
No,
heard last
you-
week. I
good
wanted to.
question. Mhm.
Any questions on anything?
Did we figure out what John Libero was asking last week?
We did send John a complete
Yes.
answer to his
So I replied
questions.
all, so if you were on it.
I wasn't on the original
Oh,
one. I
okay.
just wanted to.
Okay.
I didn't understand what he was asking, but I just wanted to make sure that we
Mhm.
addressed it. So when we meet with them on Thursday, that
Yep,
we're-
I answered all his questions, and I sent him this updated workbook, so I'm sure maybe that might
Yeah.
generate some more questions for Wednesday or
Yeah, I'm sure there will
Thursday's
be more
meeting.
questions.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. I just,
I think we're in
I just
pretty
didn't,
good shape.
because I was looking to see if I could find what it was that he was referring to, the discrepancy, and I figured it was just like a number got transposed or
Mhm.
something in a slide, but,
And I just have one more. If you do get the money that we were expecting, then you will hire that position?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But if you get a small piece, you just might not be able to. Okay, I get it.
so what do we do in that case, if we just get a small amount from the grant that we wouldn't be able to use?
We would have to rewrite the grant, most likely.
Okay.
It wasn't going to be
Enough.
enough for a full salary.
Okay. I didn't know if you could put it back into the accounts or,
There's going to be some pretty stringent expectations on the grant and
Okay.
restrictions on the grant. It's all around wraparound services, community engagement, really for increased attendance for students, and tracking that.
okay. I'll stop now.
I need a little bit of education on school choice.
Mm-hmm.
The way the foundation budget is built, it's based on the resident students, or the number of resident students the year prior. But school choice is for the current year, correct? So what was our projection, if there was any, for next year that we put in this budget for school choice?
For
What are we
next
looking
year, off the top of my head, it's a little over 500,000. I can get you the exact number. It's a little over
Okay.
500,000.
But in terms of the balance, the net school choice, how do we compare? Are we trending up? Are we same? Or how are we looking at it?
Yeah, the net is, I have those numbers. I can
So
get them to you.
Is that $500,000 net that we're receiving? That's basically,
Yeah, we get that. So that's,
well, we get it, but we also have to send.
yes, we're
Right.
sending out,
And
yes.
that's 500 before we send.
Before we send our kids out.
So we're expecting to receive close to 100 students, which would be a little higher maybe than what we had, a few students higher than what we had this year and last year,
Mhm.
based on the numbers that I remember from the top of my head. Are we expecting a reduction in the number of students who are school choicing out?
Well, I always hope that we have less students choicing out or choosing private or staying home. The expectation, we have seen some school choice students returning to the district, which is good news for us. We have not heard or received requests for students for us to recommend for private schools in the numbers that we had seen in the past. So in general, it does look like our enrollment will be up. Specific to school choice, that's sort of a hard estimate to make, but we haven't seen a trend where our school choice, our students are not staying with us.
If a student decides to stay home, like
Homeschool,
homeschool,
sure, yeah.
is that still considered a school choice placement?
No.
No. So how do we account for that? Like, there's gotta be a number somewhere, but there's
There-
no financial reflection on the budget?
No,
What was the question?
for homeschooled students.
I'm sorry, I should have.
No, that's fine. I just,
And the reason why I'm asking the question that way is because I would guess that it is much more difficult to estimate the number of students who will choose to come in. Or our ability to influence folks that way, if we want to, even, is more difficult, more challenging, correct? We had a lot of conversations about what we can do, and some of the things that we put in place were really to make sure that we kept our students in. So I'm trying to better understand
Sorry.
how we're measuring the impact of
Yep.
everything that we're trying to put in place so that we don't lose students.
Yeah, I think it is difficult. One of the surprises this year were some students who used school choice for athletic programs, which you were not supposed to do, but they do. Some students who ended up leaving us for, again, a private school for athletics. Those those things sometimes catch us off guard because we are building co-op programs for football, for skiing, for hockey. We've implemented very popular sports like lacrosse and volleyball. So as much as we develop these programs, to your point, it is difficult to really assess whether it's affecting students' choices or not. I mean, we have some indication that students are pleased and staying, but then at the end of the day, we have students who still continue to choose other public schools to attend.
Admittedly, I have not been a parent. This is my first year of not being a parent in the school district in 15 plus years. But I'm wondering how we are communicating that message. I know that we're talking about it, and we're saying that we have all these extracurricular activities, including athletics and all that. We are bringing in, STEM classes. We're bringing in choices or select electives that students told us that they would like to have. And we're doing that with this, pretty mindful shifting of resources around to be able to have a broader portfolio. But how do they hear it? I'm not, is there
Right.
As a parent right now with a kid that's in I know it because I'm here and I try to help spread the word, but I'm not, I can tell you though, in some ways, the vibe out there is more positive towards Granby than it's been in a long time, and part of that is from our athletics. We've got stellar student athletes that are just really kicking butt, like just the girls soccer, then the girls basketball, boys baseball last year. It's like we're starting to get noticed in a positive way for that. Girls lacrosse, I think, last year, for a new program. So some of that talk has really started to turn, and people are excited, as evidenced by people that are just coming to games from the community without necessarily having a kid in school right now, which I think is a positive. But someone asked me the other day, like, what's the list of the AP classes? And I was like, I don't know, but we just got a new one.
Exactly. I mean, that's,
Right.
And
I think the conversations typically happen at the junior senior high school through the guidance department. The addition of the 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade counselor, I think, has been tremendous. And often what will happen is if we're hearing that a family is considering a different choice, the principal will reach out and have a conversation with that family to try and understand, why that decision is coming forward. We've had families that go because they have a cousin in another school and they're going to carpool together, and it's really a difficult thing to track. It's to control.
and I completely agree. That's why I'm thinking that if we can take another look at this and switch from reactive to proactive, because by the time people have something in their minds that, hey, you know what, for whatever reason, I may consider leaving a place. It doesn't have to be a school, it can be anything, right? Then your brain starts playing tricks on you. How do we really show whatever is really great in Granby at every opportunity, on our website, at every conversation, something written with pictures, with evidence around it, so that we don't have to really react to something when we hear about it.
I think one of the big things will be the one-to-one, implementation. It's
Yeah.
it's proactive. It's reactive based on a report that was issued to us, but it's proactive, in the sense that we knew we couldn't kind of operate at this standard anymore. So I think that will be a big driver in getting families to stay in community and getting kids to stay in the school district and kind of using that technology and enhancing their education. I think that'll certainly be a big driver to some change.
And I think some of the things we're seeing too in general is, we've had Men Who Cook, that was a huge success. We've also here, just this last week or so ago, had our literacy math night with over 300 families coming. So we're starting to see an increased number of families participating in our events, which we hadn't seen, for a few years. So you're right, how do we stay positive, how do we get out into the newspaper, how do we share the good work that's going on? A lot of it is word of mouth, you know, to your point. You know, being in a reductionist setting, the conversation for many years has been, what do we not have, and that helped people shift and start looking elsewhere. Now we do have, you know, we have one-to-one, we have STEM, we have AP. We're building within, you know, a very fiscally conservative budget, a program that is an excellent program. We're adding mindfulness for staff and students, peace builders for staff and students. You know, how do we create the buzz around that? I think it's a good question. I think it's a question that all districts are struggling in, especially ones like Granby, that a majority of their extra revenue comes out of school choice. You know, we're reliant upon school choice to function.
I have a dovetail question. And so we've been talking about the one-to-one, and I know we just implemented this, and that's for 7th and 8th grade. No, or is it 7th to
That's
12th?
for, so
Because
the
we're doing
7th and
it,
8th grade will actually have their own one-to-one device
That they
that
can
is
take-
theirs.
right, they can take it home,
Yep.
or it stays in
No,
the
they
school?
can't take it home,
They're
but
not
while
taking
they're
it
in
home.
school, that
It's
is their
theirs.
device to
Okay.
travel from class to class. The 9th through 12th grade will have a one-to-one in the sense that
In the
there will
classroom with
be,
the carts?
yes, there will be a laptop available to them in their content area.
In the cart, and
per cart.
I had
Yep,
forgotten about
per
the
cart.
cart piece,
But
so.
they have something on the cloud that they don't, so they can log into any
Yes.
machine and
Correct.
still be able to access whatever
Correct.
they need to
Right.
access. Okay.
Is, how in other schools, and I, no, this is not the time, because we've gone over it, we're talking about it, and it's like trying to pull up clear out the moths, but I do think it's a positive, we're making a positive, switch, you know, it's not super negative out there right now, I don't feel like.
So at town meeting,
Yes.
we're still gonna go up in front of the town and list all of this stuff that we're going to do and implement.
Not, well, parts of it. I'm not gonna go through the entire budget.
Oh, no, I get that, but you're gonna say, you know, this is what we're adding this year, we're adding one-to-one, we're adding this mindfulness.
Yes.
And we're staying within. So I think
Yes.
it's going to
Yeah.
be a huge thing on the town
Yeah.
floor.
I think it's gonna feel like a collective sigh of relief.
I'm sure it will be. I actually feel great for once, you know, to be able to stand and deliver that message, because it wasn't something that we were able to do for years now. It's just that the investment that we're making, not only you know, all the work that went around it to be able to shift things around and just make a very conscious investment, and on top of that, you know, put the investment of the mind in a way, because, you know, we had to align things with our strategic plan and all that. I don't know that and I'm not saying this with any malintent, I don't know that it is easy for anyone to really understand unless there is something that is in front of them that is, you know, digestible. It's true for us too. We're asking the same questions over and over sometimes because it doesn't make sense. How do we make it very, very prominent and then put it in front of everyone? Not only the town meeting, because we only have so many people who come to the town meeting, but the entire town, not even the school community only. I think that's still an opportunity, and we are there. Now that we did all this work, that should be our next piece of effort.
I know sometimes when you go to a town meeting and they give you all the pieces of paper, you have the warrants and all that stuff. Is there a way that we can do this with what we've done and sort of give the information that we're talking about on one of those? With this budget, we've done, you know, put it on a piece of paper that they can then hold in their hand. We have now provided one-to-one for 7th and 8th grade. We're providing the carts in the 9 through 12 classrooms. We're doing the mindfulness. We're doing the social emotional learning classroom. We're, you know, really kind of hit the highlights. And by the way, we're staying within what we've been told to do the last several town meetings. We're staying within our, I'm going to say it all wrong, the net school spending and, you know, the plus 305. Like, we've done what you've asked, and we're here to tell you, we've done a good job, we've done what you've asked, and it's time to be proud of what, like,
Right.
you know, kind of get the buy-in back. And I think if you give it to them in black and white and bullet it out in a more, you know,
And just to clarify, what I'm saying is not really to get a buy-in in terms of the town meeting or the budget. I think a lot of good work went in there, and our connection so far with our finance committee, if that is an indication that they also see that a lot of work was done in that direction that you're talking about. But how do we create the brand that says Granby, as you were saying? You know, people have this positive vibe now that things are happening in this town, in this school district. How do we really make that a brand so that people, when they think of Granby, they think of that brand that says a school district that is well-rounded, that offers education and extracurriculars to enrich the child or the student.
right.
Anyway, this is probably outside. Anything else that you wanted to
No,
add to this? Okay.
So we just vote on it now? My first one.
yes.
Right. So I know we said it a few times already in this conversation, but our budget is the state mandated net school spending plus the $305,000 override that the town had passed. So that's been a conversation for many years. So this year, we're not going to be going in front of the town to ask for any additional funds. Okay. Cheryl, did you have anything else to add? Good. Any other questions before we vote this? Okay. I will need something from you. I will need the exact amount because I'm running out of battery, I think. But I also want to make sure that I am.
I can certainly tell you what it is. I'm not saying that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I was not mocking you, I was just,
Okay.
I was just,
It was priceless.
yeah, just giving you that information.
Okay.
I was not mocking you.
Cool. So is there a motion with the exact amount as, hold on, just taking one step back. Are we voting for LEA or are we voting for the entire? I think we should,
Don't we
We're-
vote for the entire one?
but the town does not really do the offset side.
Right.
There was something that we used to do, and I don't want to do it the wrong way just because we're happy today that we have a good budget number. Let's just specify both, the local being the LEA being that amount. Where is it?
Town allocation, 10,727.
Oh, actually, that's not what we voted for.
Is it the town allocation part and then the LEA? The 8558? The 10,727 and the
So-
8558?
The eight.
So
point-
the adjusted LEA is that anyway, 855 or,
Yes, that would be the town appropriation. That would be what the town is gonna appropriate to us.
okay, that's exactly what I'm
Yes.
trying to get.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
The
The
8558 is?
8558 is like, I tell Cheryl, it's like the check that they're gonna cut us essentially for
Oh,
FY20.
Which we don't have any money coming to the school district. When we say cut check, it's
Yes.
basically,
It's just a term.
yes.
Yes, it's a term, yes.
yes, we don't have the authority to
Yes.
cut
Right.
checks or
No.
anything like that. Okay. All right, so with that, can we have a motion to approve the FY20 school budget with that exact amount that says adjusted LEA budget, which is the amount that's going to be
Yeah, I really want
appropriated?
That's how you do it.
you can second then. So how do I do it?
You move,
I make a motion to approve or a vote on the adjusted or the town appropriated budget? What do I say?
so,
Tell me what to say and then I'll
so,
repeat it
okay,
back to
can
you.
we have a motion
Okay,
to approve the FY20 school budget
for that amount.
for the amount of 8,800,500?
I can do that, I
Take
can
that,
read that
okay.
part, okay. So, can we have a motion to vote on the fiscal year 20 budget for $8,558,890? Yes?
Is there, yes?
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a second?
No, second.
All right, any more questions or discussions on this? And everything else that is above that, that is basically included and considered as we're getting to that appropriate
Correct.
amount, correct? Okay.
Correct.
So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, another year, another
We did
budget.
it.
Yes.
I feel pretty proud because this is my first budget.
You need to stay on forever.
I'm actually looking forward to presenting this budget for a vote, so.
And the first word's gonna be, we are not asking for any extra money, we want you to know.
Right.
Well, then they're
That's
gonna
what
start
it is.
asking why.
Okay, so I know that we only have you for a few more minutes.
Yep.
Can we go back to our consent agenda because that's going to require a vote as well?
Sure.
And do you need any votes on the updated job descriptions for the two positions?
I have only one, and I guess for safety's sake, let's take a vote.
Okay, all right,
Is that
so
the
let's
one
just go
that's
back
in
to,
there?
Okay,
'Cause I read that one, yeah.
so I'll make a motion to do the consent agenda, to approve the consent agenda?
Okay. which includes our minutes from April 8th, and there are two warrant articles that makes the consent agenda. So there's a motion, is there a second?
Well, I have a question because
Yes.
in the consent agenda, the minutes are dated 4/22. The name of the file is dated 4/22, but it's actually the meeting from. So I don't think we can actually, can we vote on the warrants without the minutes? Okay, it's gonna be,
We're voting for 422 anyway, aren't we?
well,
Or-
but
no,
if the
today's
minutes
4/22.
embedded in the
Oh,
consent
I see what
agenda
you're saying.
say
I even
4.
said April 8th, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
No, that's fine. Just we'll vote for.
can we vote as amended?
Yes, as
to be
amended, we're
ac-
gonna vote for the minutes that is in our
Okay.
package, which is April 22nd, not April 8th. I think we already voted for April 8th, correct, Kathy?
Yeah,
All right. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, with that, the minutes being from April 22nd,
today's the 22nd.
No.
Okay.
April 8th. So what are we, I said April 8th, so what are we?
So you said it correctly, but
Yeah.
if you open our folder in the consent agenda,
Yeah.
the minutes are dated April 22nd.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So
No,
I'm,
we're voting for April 8th.
right, so
Yeah.
everything within the minutes is referring to April 8th, I think. So now I'm confused because.
No, you're saying the right thing, just,
So I
we are
just-
voting for April 8th, which we had not done yet.
So we need to.
April
'cause
22nd being
is
today, we could not vote for the minutes
Right.
from today anyway, so thank you for that catch. So it is as it is on our agenda, which is April 8th, but thank you for catching the date on that, on the package. All right, so with that,
He
the
moved,
motion,
I'll
I'm
second.
there.
okay, any other corrections, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, thank you. Thanks for that, Jen. All right, going back to, which one did you say is the one you would like to discuss
Just the
tonight?
Data manager?
Data manager, okay,
That's the same one that's been in there since this afternoon, right? You know, changes? Okay.
No changes.
okay.
Well, changes that,
Well, we had talked about it, but
David,
nothing
yeah.
since you posted it, right? Okay.
Can you just quickly catch us up with, are these the changes that we discussed last time that
Yes.
you put in place? Okay.
yes. Mhm. I think there were issues around the security piece, SIF configuration, state reporting.
Since this was added today, I think, do we have anything here that refers to data visualization?
Yes, under, I just saw it.
Anything like Tableau or something like that?
Assistant, yes, assistant preparing all standardized test data for analysis and reporting, that's not the one I saw, hold on. I did see it.
Okay, it is in the preferred section right after Microsoft Access.
Yes.
Given that it's there, and we'll approve it with it, if we can make it more prominent,
Mhm.
you know, it shouldn't be buried between Microsoft Access and the, the languages after that.
Yep.
I'm guessing probably SQL will be a big thing for a data manager. For visualization purposes, Tableau will be big. I don't know how they can be really put nearby and then highlighted, but I think that would be the better way of looking at it. Okay, all right, so we have
Do we have to vote on
an
it?
updated, yes, we do. We have an updated district data manager job description. The update includes all the changes that we proposed or were brought up last time. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions, changes? I didn't even realize that ASOP changed to frontline. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. All in favor to approve the updated job description for district data manager, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We're not doing anything with the curriculum director tonight. We're tabling that one. How about superintendent evaluation? Not tonight? Okay. So the only thing that remains, well, under new business is the medication delegation and the EPI training. Which is-
And that's, yes.
Yeah.
So by law, we need to, as the school department, delegate a person in the district to sign off on our medication delegation and EpiPen training. So that's the document that you have. Nancy is typically here, so I'm not sure.
All right. Can I sign it with a black pen?
Yes.
Okay. So this was in the package,
Mm-hmm.
the multiple documentation that shows the appropriate training. And the letter that I'm signing is saying that I'm writing to verify that Cheryl Stanton has been employed full-time.
Nope, that's separate.
So why am I signing that
That's
as part of this?
That's different.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that I have to talk to you about on the side. It's just
Oh.
the 3 colored forms.
All right. Okay. I'm glad we caught that.
Yes,
I was gonna sign it for you.
you do need to sign that for
Well,
me,
not
but
as
that's
part of
something
this,
different.
yeah. Okay, so what am I doing with, what are we doing with these? Are
So
we
those are the
voting on this,
forms.
or is it
Nope.
for information
It's
only?
just for information for
Okay.
the school.
All right, can you just quickly, for the camera, recap what this means for our health services?
Didn't
Right.
she just do that?
So it's the medication delegation for our school department that we work under a provider that is signing off that we are supervised in how we are training our staff and how we are delegating medication within the school department.
It's not just EPI, it's
No,
everything
it's
else, right?
everything.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. Do I have to sign it? Yeah, I do.
Do we all
Okay.
have to sign?
All right.
No, just a,
Just
Yeah.
a chair.
All right, so now that that is clarified, how about the DESI report? Did you want to say anything about that? It is basically a reminder to ourselves that we had received a DESI report and we're going to have
Where is that?
a tracker on that one to show which items we had started working on and what the progress of those items is. And we're gonna have a conversation hopefully with our select board and finance committee on the status of those items and whatever else is in the DESI report, correct?
correct.
When do we wanna do that? Is this supposed to be a long conversation?
Well, in our monthly meetings, we had started talking about how to create the information to share with Finance Committee and Select Board because there were some recommendations to community building.
Yep.
And we basically stopped there. We're gonna do the red light, green light document.
believe.
Right, what I'm trying to understand, sorry, I wasn't clear. How much time do we
I'm really
need,
tired.
how much time do we need with the select board and finance committee to go over this? Does it require a separate, meeting, or should we
Yes.
tell them that we would like to pay a
would-
visit to one of their meetings and
I would
maybe share
say
it at that time?
I would say it would be helpful to get on one of their agendas and share
Okay.
it with them. Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't clear
Yes.
about that. All right, so we'll do.
Because I think it would be
that.
helpful to have a conversation, and it would be helpful also if we presented it with them and then maybe went back and had a follow-up so that they could have some recommendations for us. Because it's a
Okay.
lot, the report is large, it's a lot to take in, so. And there's quite a bit of recommendations.
Okay, all right, so we'll do that. If we are asked, which I'm sure we will be, because, I mean, they have their own meeting too. How much time do we think we would?
I don't think more than a half hour
Okay.
to present, but then maybe the follow-up could be maybe an hour where we could actually really talk about what some of the recommendations or
Okay.
ideas are. And
So it's a two-step thing?
yes.
Okay. Let's
Is
do
there
that.
anything else that we need to vote on?
No, we are almost done with the whole agenda,
Okay.
right,
Mhm.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Do you have a report for tonight?
I have a quick update, and I shared it a little bit already, although the pictures are in your folder. A committee of staff members from East Meadow teamed up to offer a fantastic fun-filled literacy math fun night. They combined their efforts with the Scholastic Book Fair, which helps supply the library with books and materials for our classrooms. The theme of the night was Dynamite Dinosaur Night. Did I say that right? Dynamite Dinosaur Night.
Yeah.
I did.
Pretty good.
There was a dinosaur reading cave, photo booth, origami, and many other crafts. Over 300 students and family members attended. One of the most highly attended events in a really long time.
300 family members?
300.
Okay.
Yep. So thanks to all who created this amazing evening and those who came out in support. And Mr. Sargent was here just a little bit ago, but they ran with the Music Boosters, the Men Who Cook. And that is an opportunity to come together for great food and to celebrate the successes of our music students as a community. There were 22 cooks that volunteered their time, talent, and food, and the proceeds benefited the Granby Music Parents Association for new music instruments and music opportunities for our students. So thank you to everyone for their hard work.
Yes, thank you. That was another great event.
Yes, before you leave, May 20th
Yes.
is election night.
Yes.
And I cannot remember what we decided. Were we going to reschedule that to May 13th? So Deanne could be here?
Yes,
That was my recollection, but I wanted to confirm.
that's what we're gonna do.
So it'll be the 6th and
We'll
then
go
the
back to-
13th.
yes.
Yeah,
And then then the next meeting will be in June.
And you have to reconvene.
We have to
and-
reconvene.
Yeah, and
Okay.
reorganize.
So the 20th is moved to the 13th.
so when is the town election?
20th.
20th. When is the town meeting?
Or
13th.
before the 13th, but then there'll be one after in June.
June
typically.
10th. It's the 13th and the 10th.
No, that's correct, but then we're talking about May 13th. We can't have a meeting on May 13th either.
Oh, did we talk about that?
Yeah, that's what
I
we
thought
we
we
didn't
did
have the
talk
dates.
Right. So so I guess we're not gonna have it on a Monday. Can we have it on a Tuesday, Wednesday,
Oof.
Thursday, something?
I guess, should we wait till Deanne comes back and pick and see? Oh, 'cause she can't, it has to be before the 20th,
That's correct.
so probably could. I don't have my kids' sports schedule yet, but I can try to make arrangements. I could
Okay.
probably do the Tuesday,
Yeah,
the
so
14th.
that's a good idea. Let's just say that we're not gonna have a meeting, obviously, on the 20th. We're gonna have it the week before, date to be determined, and we can do it in
Yeah.
a week or so.
Or we can do it like we did the last time through text and email or whatever and try to figure
Doodle
out a
it,
date.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
do a doodle.
Yeah,
Do a doodle?
yeah, if you can do the doodle, I think that's the easiest.
I
Yeah.
do not do the doodle.
Yeah. Cool. Do we have any other standing reports from anything that you're on? Anything that you're on? We don't have anything. Okay. Did you have any updates on anything
I don't,
current?
so I know it's usually the second meeting of the month, but we're kind of wrapped up in FY '20.
Okay.
So I'll do FY '19, update next time. I worked or had talked to Ken from Food Service from Chartwell's. We're gonna meet and come up with a better way on reporting, out the monthly, highlights that, I give you guys, so they're, make more sense. They kind of tie to everything that we've been talking about all year, so I have a meeting with him that we're gonna figure out, strategize on how we can do that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you flow through the report, that
Yep.
when you get to the bottom, it kind of makes
Yep,
sense with everything you read at
that's-
the
yep.
top, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had talked to him actually over vacation. We had a quick phone call. I just wanted to make sure he was aware, that we needed to change kind of how we were presenting that and reporting that, because the numbers weren't really making too much sense. So, we're gonna get together and do
That
that.
would be great.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see the next report.
yes.
We don't have a executive session tonight anyway.
I just want to mention one thing before.
please.
There was a new scoreboard installed, on the
Oh,
athletic
yes.
fields. It was completely done by volunteers. It looks amazing. I'm gonna work with Ally to, maybe do some type of unveiling, even though it's already unveiled. But the volunteers should also definitely be recognized
Absolutely.
somehow. So again, I don't know if we want to invite them to school committee meeting and recognize them,
I think we should definitely do that.
something additional on top, but they put in a lot of work, and the scoreboard came out like
Yeah.
unbelievable. So I just want to make sure that they're recognized.
Thank you for that.
So we're
Thanks
gonna,
for reminding.
we'll
Absolutely.
figure all that out, but it's out back. Obviously, today wasn't a great day to go look at it, but if you get a chance to go look at it, they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
So,
And to be sure, that's not the only thing that they have done for the.
No,
field,
no, no,
for
no. I
the-
just wanted to
for
make
the
sure that- yeah,
program.
yeah, no, no,
Yes,
right,
That
and
one was
that's
a little
another
bit
thing.
above and beyond.
Yeah.
yes,
what
yes,
they
there
were-
was a
Much
lot of,
appreciated. Thank you for
man-hours
reminding
and a
that.
lot of work, so they should
Yep,
definitely be
absolutely.
recognized.
And they were
Absolutely.
absolutely hysterical talking about it on Friday at the games. Oh my gosh. When are we gonna do it now? It's supposed to rain on Saturday. We're supposed to do it on Saturday. We're gonna do it now? Well, we can't be having the electrical poles when, you know, it was just like so funny to listen to them kibitz about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were all super pumped to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was talking to
That's
a
good.
couple of them, and it was so neat to see people, like I said, so jazzed. Like the vibe is super positive right now, and people want to be
Yeah.
a part of it, which
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
which is really cool. It's
Yeah,
nice to be on
it
that
is
side of
absolutely
it.
cool.
Now
Yeah.
we just need a swim team, and then I'll be like, yeah.
Also, the flag, the American Legion donated the flag.
Oh, we got a new
Well,
flag?
Yeah, there's a flagpole out there too, with the American flag on it, the American.
Out back?
Yeah, yes,
I didn't know. That's,
yes,
oh,
scoreboard
nice.
and flag.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome.
Thanks to the American
Yeah.
Legion, thanks to the volunteers. I can't wait to come back when it's not pouring
Pouring?
and then,
Yeah,
We
and
could row out
see all
back and
that.
see.
yes.
Really appreciate
There's your
it.
swim team right there.
Yeah.
She'd swim out there. she'd
All
be
right,
fine
so
with it.
we do not have an executive session tonight, so is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
Second.
All right, anything else that we left out?
No.
Okay, all in favor to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, sorry for the speedy meeting.
No, it was good, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, more